Picture this: a Tyrannosaurus rex ripping into a Triceratops, blood dripping from its massive jaws. That's the image most of us have grown up with, thanks to movies and museum displays that love a good dramatic scene. But here's the thing: that terrifying picture only tells a tiny fraction of the real story. For every terrifying predator with dagger-like teeth, there were dozens of dinosaurs doing something far less cinematic, munching on plants, grinding up insects, or filtering tiny organisms from ancient lakes and rivers. The reality of dinosaur diets is far more complex, more varied, and frankly more bizarre than anything you've seen on screen. The word dinosaur literally means terrible lizard, but these creatures were far more diverse in their eating habits than any group of reptiles alive today. Over 165 million years, an almost unimaginable span of time, dinosaurs evolved specialized diets that would make a modern buffet look absolutely boring by comparison. Some had teeth, like steak knives, perfectly designed for slicing through flesh. Others had grinding surfaces like millstones, built for pulverizing tough vegetation, and some had no teeth at all, developing instead specialized beaks and swallowing strategies that seem almost alien. Understanding what dinosaurs ate reveals so much more than just menu preferences. It unlocks how entire ecosystems functioned, why certain dinosaurs grew to absolutely massive proportions while others remained relatively small, and how life adapts to fill every available niche. Let's start with the true heavyweights, the sauropods. These long-necked giants like Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, and Argentinosaurus grew to lengths of over 100 feet and weighed as much as several elephants combined. Their dietary strategy was remarkably simple: quantity over quality. These enormous animals stripped entire branches of their foliage using peg-like teeth that were designed purely for gathering, not for chewing. The actual breakdown of food happened in their massive digestive systems, which functioned essentially like enormous fermentation tanks, breaking down tough plant material over extended periods. Some paleontologists estimate that the largest sauropods consumed up to a ton of vegetation every single day. That's roughly the weight of a small car, swallowed in leaves and branches. During the Jurassic period, when sauropods dominated, flowering plants the kind we see everywhere today hadn't even evolved yet, so these giants weren't munching on soft fruits or tender flowers. Instead, they faced a landscape of tough, fibrous plants like cycads, ginkgos, and various conifers. These plants were difficult to digest and relatively low in nutrition compared to modern vegetation. This meant sauropods had to feed almost continuously, using their extraordinarily long necks to sweep across vast areas of forest without even moving their massive bodies. It was the ultimate efficiency strategy, allowing them to process enormous quantities of poor quality food while expending minimal energy. Think of them as living lawnmowers on an almost impossible scale. But not all plant eaters were giants, and size wasn't the only solution to the challenge of processing vegetation. The hadrosaurs, commonly known as duck-billed dinosaurs, evolved an entirely different approach. These animals developed some of the most sophisticated chewing mechanisms ever to evolve on Earth. Their jaws didn't just move up and down like ours do, they moved side to side as well, creating a grinding motion similar to how cows chew today. But hadrosaurs took this even further. Their teeth were arranged in massive batteries, with rows upon rows of grinding surfaces stacked on top of each other. When one tooth wore down from constant use, another tooth would push up from below to replace it, like a conveyor belt of dental equipment. Some hadrosaur species had over 1,000 teeth in their mouths at any given moment, allowing them to process food that other dinosaurs simply couldn't handle. Then there were the Ceratopsians, the horned dinosaurs like Triceratops, Styracosaurus, and Centrosaurus. These animals approached plant eating with yet another strategy. Their jaws worked like giant pairs of scissors, shearing through even the toughest vegetation with powerful vertical strokes. Their beaks were remarkably similar to modern parrots, designed specifically for crushing and tearing resistant plant material. The combination of a parrot-like beak for cropping and scissor-like jaws for cutting made ceratopsians incredibly efficient at processing the coarse plants of the Cretaceous period. Some paleontologists believe they may have even used their horns and frills not just for defense or display, but potentially to knock down taller plants to bring them within reach. Of course, no discussion of dinosaur diets would be complete without the predators, and no predator captures our imagination quite like Tyrannosaurus rex. This animal could bite through bone with a force of over 8,000 pounds per square inch, strong enough to crush a car, literally. But why bite through bone when the meat is on the outside? The answer lies in nutrition. By breaking bones, T-Rex could access the nutrient-dense marrow hidden inside, extracting maximum calories from every kill. This behavior, known as osteophagy, is seen in modern predators like hyenas and wolves. But not all carnivorous dinosaurs were bone-crushing behemoths. Raptors like Velociraptor and Deinonychus were built for a completely different hunting style. These animals were pursuit predators, designed for speed and agility rather than raw power. Their teeth were shaped like serrated blades, perfect for slicing through flesh but not particularly good for crushing. They likely chased down smaller prey and used their characteristic sickle claws to inflict bleeding wounds, then waited for their victims to weaken from blood loss. It's a hunting strategy that requires patience and social coordination, and many paleontologists believe raptors may have hunted in packs. Here's something that might disturb you. Evidence suggests many carnivorous dinosaurs were cannibals. Marks on fossils from Majungasaurus, a predator from Madagascar, perfectly match the teeth of their own species. Similar evidence has been found in Allosaurus remains. Survival in the prehistoric world meant taking advantage of absolutely any available food source, including members of your own species. It wasn't cruelty, it was necessity in a world where missing a meal could mean death. Now let's talk about the omnivores, because not every dinosaur fit neatly into the categories of plant eater or meat eater. Species like Gallimimus, Ornithomimus, and Oviraptor had beaks and body structures suggesting highly varied diets. These dinosaurs likely ate whatever they could find: plants, insects, small animals, eggs, even carrion. This dietary flexibility would have been tremendously advantageous during times of environmental change when specialized feeders might struggle to find their preferred foods. In many ways, these opportunistic feeders were the ultimate survivors. Some of the smallest dinosaurs were among the most interesting eaters, proving that you don't need to be massive to be remarkable. Microraptor, a tiny feathered dinosaur about the size of a crow, ate fish, lizards, and even other small dinosaurs. One incredibly well-preserved specimen contained the remains of a bird in its stomach, direct evidence of its last meal, preserved for over 120 million years. This tells us that Microraptor was an agile, opportunistic hunter capable of catching flying prey. So how do we actually know what dinosaurs ate? This is where paleontology turns into detective work. Scientists use multiple lines of evidence to reconstruct ancient diets. Coprolites, the scientific term for fossilized feces, are incredibly valuable because they contain direct evidence of what passed through a dinosaur's digestive system. These ancient droppings can contain bone fragments, plant material, seeds, and even parasite eggs, all preserved for over 100 million years. Teeth are another crucial clue. Their shape, wear patterns, and microscopic scratches reveal whether an animal was slicing meat, grinding plants, or crushing shells. Scientists can even analyze the chemical composition of fossilized bones and teeth. Plants incorporate different carbon isotopes depending on their environment, and those isotopic signatures pass along the food chain. An animal that ate mostly plants from dry environments will have a different chemical signature than one that fed in swampy regions. Most dramatically, some fossils preserve stomach contents directly. Specimens that died quickly after eating, perhaps caught in a sudden flood or buried in a landslide, reveal their last meals frozen in time. We found herbivores with leaves and branches still in their body cavities, and carnivores with the bones of their prey. Some plant eaters have been found with gastroliths deliberately swallowed stones that helped grind food in their digestive systems, similar to how modern birds use grit in their gizzards. These stones, polished smooth by the churning action of the stomach, are sometimes found in clusters inside fossilized rib cages. Here's a deeper insight that connects everything together. Dinosaur diets were part of an ongoing evolutionary dance between predators, prey, and plants. This wasn't random, it was a constant arms race that drove evolution forward. When sauropods evolved longer necks to reach higher branches, trees responded by growing taller. When herbivores developed more efficient grinding teeth, plants evolved tougher fibers and chemical defenses. When predators became faster and more powerful, prey animals developed better armor, keener senses, and more sophisticated escape behaviors. This back-and-forth pressure produced the incredible diversity we see preserved in fossils, and it continued for millions of years. Studying dinosaur diets isn't just about satisfying curiosity about the distant past. This research has genuine practical applications for understanding our world today. By examining how ancient ecosystems responded to environmental changes, climate shifts, volcanic activity, changing sea levels, scientists can better predict how modern ecosystems might react to current challenges. The patterns of extinction and survival seen in the fossil record offer valuable clues about what makes species resilient and what makes them vulnerable. These insights could inform conservation efforts and help us understand how ecosystems might adapt to ongoing climate change. So, the next time you see a T-Rex chasing prey on a movie screen, remember that you're only seeing a small part of a much bigger picture. For every dramatic predator, there were dozens of plant eaters silently shaping the landscape with their constant feeding. There were opportunistic omnivores taking advantage of whatever food they could find, and tiny specialists exploiting ecological niches that larger dinosaurs couldn't reach. These animals weren't just monsters from some fantasy story, they were real participants in a complex, interconnected web of life that spanned millions of years. And through careful scientific detective work, examining everything from tooth scratches to fossilized droppings, we can reconstruct their world with remarkable detail. What dinosaurs really ate isn't just an interesting curiosity, it's a window into one of the most fascinating chapters in Earth's long history, and it helps us understand the living world around us today.